How's it going, everyone? This is JJ. I am a former Apple senior software engineer, and now I help law firms implement AI into actual workflows, training teams, building automations, improving intake and operations, and making these tools practical instead of theoretical. Today, I want to show you a real example from my own machine. I was almost completely out of storage. I used to have 986 gigabytes used out of 994. I thought the issue was going to be something normal for a developer, like Docker, Xcode, node modules, or app caches. But after using AI to walk through the problem, the actual culprit ended up being an old Bitcoin and Ethereum data hiding in my library folder. It was over 460 gigabytes of blockchain data I wasn't using. I got into crypto a few years ago, and I decided to download a full Bitcoin node and a small Ethereum node. I'm doing this inside of Claude Desktop in the normal chat interface using Haiku 4.5 extended. I'm going to walk through how I used the chat, the terminal commands, and a little common sense to trace the storage problem instead of randomly deleting files. One quick note, I accidentally closed the original terminal windows, so I can't show the exact original terminal scrollback. I'm reconstructing this from the Claude transcript, the shell history, and the current after state of the machine. So I asked Claude, I have a lot of memory being taken up by applications, 476 gigabytes. Now you can see it's only 62 gigabytes. I deleted some stuff in applications and in documents and in developer. So first, Claude suggested, where my different applications, what things I could have downloaded. I asked Claude to give me a terminal command search for the files and their memory and directory. I asked it a little bit incorrectly. There is this common terminal command called LL. It's for listing. It's an alias for ls-l. If I do ls-l, you could see it displays all of my files. So I was asking it if there was a certain command. I guess I could just do ll, and it'll tell me the size of my files and when they were last modified and all this stuff. So Claude knew I was asking about ll because I wanted to ask Claude to help me see where I was storing things. So I ran LL and I pasted the entire output. I did this, copy and pasted it here. Claude started looking into what the output was, and then Claude suggested a few things, Docker desktop, I have Codex, I have VS Code, Crash Reporter, so I don't really need to keep these old crash logs. I use Loom and JetBrains as well as an IDE. So I just wanted Claude to give me a command to remove the crash reporter. I said, is that fine to nuke? So to delete. And Claude gave me this command. I ran it. Claude also suggested to go through my Docker desktop images. It gave me a few commands, and I copied and pasted all the different Docker images that I had. Some of them were still being used, but some of them weren't. For example, this one. And you can see here, there's 1 gigabyte there that I wasn't using. So Claude and I kind of troubleshooted a bit which Docker images to delete, and I went ahead and deleted some. Claude said that I was going to be able to free up about 15 to 16 gigabytes given the information that I gave it. However, when I ran, the prune command, it only deleted 1.5 gigabytes, which is not enough for the 980 something that I had. I asked Docker again to give me, the sizes of the images, containers, and volumes that it had. And we were troubleshooting a little bit more. I think I deleted a little bit more of Docker. I said, well, not Docker, then what else? It gave me some commands to search through my application support folder, so through the library folder. Claude said that perhaps Xcode could have a lot of data in it, node modules for my applications, the virtual environments. It's another area where you could store a lot of data. And I wasn't sure if I needed Xcode to, because I know that there are the Xcode developer tools, but I don't code right now in iOS or Mac OS. So I went ahead and deleted that Xcode. I also reinstalled the Xcode CLI tools in case I needed them. So you could see I deleted the Xcode app, I deleted the developer tools, and then I just reinstalled them, and my terminal said that I already had these installed. I asked it a few more questions about other node modules files. We were able to find that I had cursor installed, so I went ahead and deleted cursor. Well, first of all, this command was to see how big the cursor extensions and these internal files were, so about 1.2 gigabytes. I told it I don't use cursor, so I nuked it. I just went ahead and copied and pasted this into the terminal. Claude also suggested to look into the root directory applications. And so I have a few of these that I actually was not using. For example, this one, I'm not using it. And this one also was not using it. So that saved me another 4 gigabytes. I went ahead. We use Supabase for some of our applications. So I asked it if I should delete that, but I shouldn't really because I have Supabase running locally. I asked it what the DU is disk usage, because Claude was giving me this command to run in the terminal. And I know a lot of commands, ls, cd, pwd, etc., but DU, I hadn't heard of it before. We searched through more and more applications, and then we realized that my library had 595 gigabytes. Claude is like, there it is in your library folder. So Claude gave me a few commands to run through my terminal to see which folders inside of my library had a lot of information, a lot of data. I realized that I don't need Ethereum, right? Ethereum was somewhere here. So Ethereum, I don't really use Ethereum, and look at that, 82 gigabytes. So I ended up deleting it. We can also remove finance, which includes some information about stocks. And then Claude told me to go through my application support folder, and we realized that I had a Bitcoin node in my computer. So yeah, I told it, okay, you made me realize that it was Bitcoin, so let's go ahead and delete it. And there I went, I ran this command. I had also installed IPFS, which is Interplanetary File System, another type of decentralized protocol. I also deleted that too. So the funny part of this is that all of the obvious engineering suspects were not the main issue. Docker looked big, Xcode looked a bit suspicious. The node modules, I deleted some of those too, and the caches were worth cleaning, but the actual problem was the forgotten blockchain data that I had stored for years in my computer. And the real win was not just deleting files, it was using the terminal to trace the problem from a vague macOS storage warning down to the exact folders causing it. That's how I found hundreds of gigabytes hiding on my Mac. Please, if you have any questions on using Claude for your firm, if you want to troubleshoot any issues, feel free to reach out. Thank you.